also think buying cattle has changed. With the onset of the internet, you can buy cattle across the nation quite easily. Shipping and receiving cattle has changed a lot from taking them to the rail stockyards. I'm going to let Dad tell this story again of, Glick and Lowell having to go to Rosalia to degraph and back and forth. I think that's a good story of receiving some cattle on the stockyards. On the railroad.
Well, it got to be kind of long-winded story. And you don't all know all our territory down there real good. But anyhow, my granddad, he got a word from a neighbor rancher there that run a lot of country, and he said, we've got got to have, I'll say 1,000 cattle. I don't know what it was, but he said the railroad didn't come up through Castee and Makeman and up here to Matfield Green. No, it did not, because that was before then. So there was a railroad over on the west side, came up through DeGraff and up toward Florence and stuff, and another one went to the south and east to Rosalia and on to Eureka. So, but anyway, there's just one way to get over. So they said, well, be in DeGraff next morning. So anyway, they get up early in the morning, pitty-patter over to DeGraff and get ready to get these cattle, and see the agent there at the stockyards in DeGraff, and he said, well, Grant was here this morning early, and he had a horse on the train, but he said, we just got 300 cattle here, and the rest of your cattle have been rerouted to Rosalia. Well, goodness sakes, that's about 40 miles across there or something like that. So anyway, Granddad and my dad was just a little kid at this time. So anyway, they left home, like 3 o'clock in the morning to get over to DeGraff. So they rode over to DeGraff. So they headed back for Rosalia. They get back to Rosalia, and Grant was starting to turn his cattle out. And he said, well, what did you do with those cattle I left for you? Well, Granddad said, we haven't seen you or any cattle or anything else today. What's happening? Well, he said, those cattle, I left with DeGraff those cattle, and I get along with them pretty good. And then he said it started giving me a lot of trouble. So he said, I turned them in down there in Cooper's pasture out there, which is west of Aikman. And he said, he's madder than the devil, but he said, we got to take these out of Rosalia, and then we got to go back there and get those out of there tonight, because he said he's pretty upset. So anyway, ended up going back up there and getting those cattle. So anyway, my granddad told me this story, but he said, we left home one morning at 3 o'clock to go to DeGraff, and we got back at 2 o'clock the next morning, because we'd put on 23 hours for falling across there. But anyway, my dad said that was, he was too much of a kid. He said they told him to go on to the house. And when he made that second trip, he said he was so little that he didn't have to make the full trip. But anyways, that's quite a long ways across there, back and forth. So, okay.
All on the same old horse.
Yep. Well, pretty much.